Welcome back, everybody, to our midweek update. We are pumped to have you with us on this beautiful Wednesday, gorgeous day, and it's going to be a great time with you. We want to, right out of the gate, say thanks to Lynn Campbell, who makes some of the best chocolate chip cookies you've ever had. COVID protected chocolate chip cookies, but those were delivered this morning, and we are pumped.
That's lunch right there.
Yeah. It's funny because I just got my blood work back yesterday from the doctor, and this is a no. So I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll see. I may have to.
I know what I'm going to do, man. I'll let my share in yours. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'll help you out, brother.
Yeah.
I will remove the temptation for you.
I appreciate that. Yeah. If we pan the camera over here, there's Fitz got me some donuts for my birthday that are still sitting right there, tempting me. So
the fact they're still sitting there says a lot about this guy's willpower.
That's right.
I commend you, man.
Yeah.
Those would have been gone in a day
for
me.
Well, I hit the big 4.9, a week and a half ago, and so it's like this 12-month journey now to 50, where I hope to land at 50, halfway healthy. So I'm going to give it my best shot, but this isn't going to help, Lynn. But we asked for it, we got you delivered. So thank you for the chocolate chip cookies. And we may share them with the staff. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Well, we're going to talk about really one thing today, and before, just to put you at ease, it's not going to be the debate. All right. We got enough of that last night. We're going to talk about something really, really important coming up. It's our marriage night in a few weeks. Actually, a week from this Friday.
Yeah.
October the 9th. Yeah, October the 9th.
7 p.m., $30. Totally worth it.
Totally worth it. Yeah. And so we're just gonna highlight that, spend some time sharing some personal thoughts about that. But let's kind of get the general overview out first. It's just kind of what this is about for folks who maybe have never attended a marriage retreat or seminar. What do these nights look like? What should they expect?
Yeah, the great thing about this is it's a one night only, so you're not taking an entire weekend away. You don't have to, figure out an extended babysitting if you've got little kids still at home and all that. It's a simulcast, and I know sometimes people are like, well, I'd rather be at a live event than at a simulcast.
Right.
But I think we've got a unique experience on that, some unique input. Every week I stand in front of a group of people and I speak to them, and the people in the front row are the best example. It's as though they're trying to look around me so they can see me on the big screen anyway. Right. So we're pretty accustomed to looking at the screen. We're pretty accustomed to that simulcast feel, even when it is live. The couples that are going to be there, Michael Jr., the comedian, it's a night of fun. You'll walk away with really good insights on how to interact with your spouse. You'll walk away with some helpful, applicable takeaways of things that we can do to improve our marriages. There will be laughter. There will be fun. Some stuff might be stuff you've heard before, but it's always a good reminder. Pretty regularly in my exercise routine, I'm coming across stuff that I already know.
Yeah.
But it's a good reminder, like, oh man, I haven't done that exercise for a while. I need to do that. I need to amp it up with this or that. This is the same kind of thing. Really trusted people who, they're people just like us. They're not perfect. They've navigated things. So nobody's going to be, high up on the mountaintop saying, this is how to do it.
Right.
They're going to be giving their real life examples. Lots of fun, great couples as we see on the screen here. Matt and Lauren Chandler, he is a fantastic preacher, speaker, and she's about as sweet as it gets. The Edwards, great couple. The Parrots have been doing marriage counseling and marriage advice and writing books, and man, they are one of the foremost couple experts on marriage. You just can't find better resource than them. And then Michael Jr. Man, that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to most is just being in a group with other people and hearing Michael Jr. Because his comedy is clean, It's great. It's brilliant. It's contagious.
Yeah.
And it moves us forward. It's not just laughter. It's like laughter with purpose. And you really got to hear him to understand that. But it's great. He's one of the funniest guys I've ever heard. And there's something about being with my wife. There's also something about being with my wife in the context of a room full of people. And we've heard him live, and we've watched him on other stuff. And it's going to be a fantastic night. So I can't recommend enough how good this will be. So whether your marriage is in a tough spot or your marriage is in a really strong spot, if it's good, this is a good way to keep it good. If it's not as good as you'd want it to be, this is a way to help nudge it towards getting good.
I like under Les and Leslie Parrott's description there, you probably can't read it, but it talks about their book called Love Talk, and then specifically a book they wrote called Saving Your Marriage Before It Starts. And I love that because that's really the ideal. It's like when you think about who should come to this, maybe the most important is younger couples preparing for marriage. Even so maybe don't think that you even have to be married to come to this. You may be on that path. You're engaged. Your wedding's 6 months off. Maybe one of the best things you could do is attend this beforehand to get some tools in your toolbox. Most of us, it's kind of like we wait till there's a problem,
right?
And then try to fix it, which is just, that's life. It's our health sometimes. But isn't it better to kind of approach it from the wellness side,
right?
To pour in before things so that you can maybe navigate better when things do, because it'll come, and I think that's where we want to share a little bit on the lighter side, but nonetheless the COVID season has been a stressor on a lot of levels, and especially when you don't see it coming, and all of a sudden your family, your lifestyle is thrust into a new reality. That can lead to some real problems, and we've shared a little bit of the stats, but I think one of the real alarming ones is just that was already an epidemic in our society, the divorce rate. And we're seeing that just kind of skyrocket, and this COVID is unfortunately perpetuating that. So kind of from that aspect of how has COVID affected your marriage and your family. For us, we've had a whole lot of good things fortunately happen, but some challenges. So Fitz, talk about maybe the initial what was like, oh, this is gonna take some work here. This is gonna present a challenge for us. What did that look like for you guys?
In those early days of the pandemic when everything was first locked down, and it's lightened up in the last few months, but that first stretch when it was, we're mostly staying at home and businesses are closed, and Jen and I learned years ago that the way we're wired up is I get recharged by hanging out with people, and I get recharged by being in the presence of others in relationship. Jen gets recharged by being alone. Now that doesn't mean she doesn't ever like to be with people, and it doesn't mean that I don't ever need alone time, but like I need 10% alone time, 90% other people. Jen's probably, about 30% alone time and 70% other people. And I love huge crowds, and she likes a little bit smaller crowds. And so when the only crowd and the only people are the ones at home, and there's challenges to finding alone time. We knew, we knew early on, man, this is going to be a challenge. And our kids are kind of wired up like that too. One of our kids is wired a little more like Jen. A couple of our kids wired a little more like Jen, and one a little more like me as far as needing time away and time with people. So you get those of us in the house who are clingy, and those who are like resisting. And it doesn't mean there weren't gifts with this. I mean, a beautiful time of family time and time around the table and interaction with our kids and space that was created where Jen and I could go on walks and we could do some fun stuff. But there was that tension of how do we manage this space? Now, we were really fortunate. We had been in a much smaller rental house. And right at the beginning of it, I mean, like the day that everything shook out, we closed on our new house, which had a little more space. Our girls got separate bedrooms from each other, and we got some romp room and a basement. And I'm not sure that I'd be saying the same things if we'd still been in the other house. We may be talking. I might be talking from a prison cell after having done some mean things.
The
to
walls
kids,
close
man.
in, man.
It does, and even with
yeah.
more space, it got tight. We had to get pretty creative during that season, and had to remember to say I'm sorry a whole lot more. Season.
Yeah.
How
we
about
were
for you guys.
We were we were in a unique season heading into graduation season. April and May, we had a plan, and that started, of course, our lives are so interwoven with church activity and our families that's just how it's always been. And so from the initial letdown of, Easter's not going to look the same.
Yeah.
There was just this trickle down effect or waterfall effect of one thing after the other being canceled or changed. And we soon began to realize, okay, for our 18-year-old son, who was supposed to have all these exciting year-end, senior year activities, those were all just one after the other disappearing. And I think he was handling it better than we were, and that was just difficult emotionally for us. There weren't arguments, there weren't disagreements. It was just frustration because it was out of our control. But that creates a tension, and I found myself as in the toughest day in our home was the day the governor announced that graduations were going to be canceled. It's just devastating. That was kind of the one thing we were holding out hope for. And then we're all at home that day, and the news is on, and man, we're all just in tears, And it was a unifying moment, Madison was home, all four of us there, and we're hugging each other, crying together. But I remember, I kind of shut off for a little bit, because I was like, I'm just tired of this, and it was a really frustrating day, and for Christy and I, it was just stretching us as parents as far as how to coach our kids and our son at that moment through that. Because it was like, what do you say and what do you do? And of course, we were what we were fortunate that a whole lot of families weren't fortunate. We've been sheltered from infection. In other words, being impacted directly health-wise. We haven't lost a family member. And so I can't imagine that component added in into families, and death in a family can bring some really challenging things. It can divide as much as it can unify, because it just creates some really unique challenges. So all of that again points to, man, we this marriage night can provide an opportunity for hopefully some healing in all of that, some respite, because we're still in the thick of it. We're learning and we're adapting, but we need sort of that oasis, and I think that's another way to think of this night as an oasis to step into like-minded people. We're all in it together, and that's part of the synergy and the beauty of these kind of things is you're surrounded by other people who are human beings struggling through it, working through it, celebrating through it. I think for Christy and I, on kind of the fun side, you mentioned walks. The other thing that was a blessing for our family and for Christy and I specifically was pickleball.
Yeah, man.
And we started playing with you guys. Actually, we discovered this whole subculture of people. It was all new to me. I'm like, what is pickleball? And then, man, but it is a lot of fun to play. It's good for your health. It gets you out, gets you active. So that was just one
lots
of
of laughs when we play with each other.
Lots of groaning. Little ouch, that hurt. Kind of stretching your muscles. But anyway, so a lot of challenges, but a whole lot of good things. And so marriage night, man, we come together and we can celebrate all of that. Hear from some great people.
Well, one of the things you mentioned, and I love how you mention it, is the family component, and the kids, because that's one of the pieces that we often don't think of. We'll talk either about kid stuff or marriage stuff, but really it's so enmeshed that sometimes we're working with people and their marriages often, and one of the spouses is so ultra focused on the kids, and what they've missed is that the best gift we can give to our kids is a healthy marriage for our kids to see, and for us to model what a healthy marriage looks like, and what it looks like when a mom or dad says, I'm sorry to the other spouse, and when the kids see mom and dad valuing each other and taking that time and saying, hey, we're going on a walk, and this time you don't get to come because we're having date walk time, and those kinds of things, and so this is a great way not only to strengthen your marriage, but to strengthen your family. Like the stronger the bond between mom and dad, the better off the kids are. And sometimes we lose sight of that, and there's so many things that go on with, especially when you get kids at home, they just vie for the time. If we don't fight for that time to get together. So this is a great date night. I mean, just to get together, to recharge. Jen and I were at one of these a couple years ago, and you mentioned, those couples just starting out. And I loved that as we were walking out, we had connection with couples like at every level. At the time, we'd been married just shy of 20 years. There were some couples who were brand new to it, who we saw there. There was one couple who was engaged, who we saw there. And there was a couple, you get that gray-haired couple that was like, getting close to their 50th anniversary.
That's awesome.
And there were some who had been married longer than that who were there that night, but one we knew, getting closer to 50th anniversary. And all of them walking away with, man, that was a good night. Great reminders, great resources, great help for us. So no matter where you are on that spectrum, it's worth it. It's worth it.
Right on.
Yeah.
So what do you do with this? Here's a couple action steps for you. All right. Maybe you've already said, yeah, I'm in. I'm going. So for you, it's share this with somebody. Get on our Facebook page. We were putting out videos, highlights about it. Share that with somebody you know. All right. And if you haven't, you yourself signed up, just go to our website, look for this logo, click on it. All the registration stuff is there. It's worth every penny. It'll be worth the effort. But the most or the really important thing is again help spread the word. And get the word out there. We've got room for a lot of folks. We've got room to apply all the guidelines. We'll be socially distant but safe.
And that's a key point. We've been in this series called Essential Business, and our Essential Business here at OCC is helping everyone find and follow Jesus. And sometimes it's just the simple invite. Hey, come check this out. Come see about this for yourself. And it's not even come to the church service. Just come check out what my church is offering. Come see what we are willing to do to help other people. Come and see this thing for yourself. And that invite, man, I know for you, for me, for so many of us, one of the greatest influences is just having somebody who cares enough about us to say, hey, come with me to this. So you got that person at work who's been sharing with you that their marriage is off. You got that family member who that the interaction in their marriage is very close to what we saw in the debate last night. And if you've had those kind of moments where your conversation with your spouse resembles that debate, man, this is a good thing. You got those people who they're doing great, but you just want to invite them to have a great time and a good date night. Invite, share.
Firm believer. I'm a firm believer, and I think we'd all agree that if we can nurture healthy marriages, healthy families, a lot of our societal issues will begin to heal up. It's the epicenter of so much of our struggle. Begins in the home, and so this is a very strategic move in that aspect of where do we need to focus. If all the things we can do, this maybe is one of the most significant things we can do on a regular basis. So take advantage of it. Fitz, these cookies are calling my name, brother.
Man,
I think we're going to have to dive in here. You guys, tune in next time. Maybe we'll have some left, but otherwise, we will see you Sunday morning. Back for our week 3 of Essential Business at 9 and 11 on campus and online. In the meantime, get registered and tell a friend. All right. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time.